ESPA, Eastern Zonal Psychological Association. This ESPA has been the brainchild of Professor Arup Ghoshal, who till before his death, he has been the president. And today, actually, while thinking of this entire thing, I was also, I felt that somehow Sir had the discretion or judicious discretion of leaving the world, in the year 2016. So he has already started maintaining this physical distance with the world since the last 4 years, which we are doing this year. He understood things much better, so he left for whatever, I don't know. I, being an atheist, I can't even say an heavenly abode, but whatever. He left us, but yes, he left us physically, cannot leave us in spirit. Many of us here have been his students, and most of us here who belong to this Eastern Zonal Psychological Association, we owe a lot of our learning, our knowledge to him. We remember him day in, day out. So this is for you, sir. We welcome one and all. And I would request Onoma to take over if Lopa is not there. I don't think Lopa is there because I cannot see her. So please take over and take charge of the seminar.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good evening to our second online Arup Ghoshal Memorial Seminar. This seminar we have started in name of our beloved sir, and our today's topic is exploring the mind of the child. It is basically for children between class 5 to class 10, and we have eminent speakers from diverse background to give their eminent and enriching speech to us. So without wasting our time, we go to Shikhadi to say some words, being the president of our organization. Over to you, Shikhadi.
Where's she? I just saw her there.
It just showed that she has left the meeting a couple of seconds back.
Okay, maybe due to some technical glitches, she is not able to be present with us right now. Yeah, she is back. Shikhadi, yeah, unmute please.
Shikhadi, we would like to hear about ESPA from you. Onoma.
Maybe she is having some technical problem and net connection is disturbing. So, I would like Nadi to speak something, and we will start with our panel discussion.
Okay, in that case, I would rather request the viewers that we would take the opportunity or the liberty to make our president, Ms. Shikhadi, speak in between, because otherwise what would happen is I speak about the organization and then I speak, it becomes a little too much of me. So I cannot handle so much at one point in time. So much stretch to it. Okay, Shikhadi is there. Could you just unmute and tell us and tell the viewers about ESPA a little? Waiting for that.
Shikhadi, could you hear us? You are unmuted. If you speak, we can hear you.
No, we can't hear.
She's still.
We cannot hear you, Shikhadi. No. There's some major disturbance, major audio disturbance. There's some major audio problem with any of the system there out, Shikadi. So I think, Anuma, since Lopa is also not there, so what we can do is we start with the basic thing of the seminar, and then in between, when they can pitch in, maybe after any one speaker, then we can accommodate them. Right, Anuma?
Sure, Shubhanadi. So let's get together and
Your voice is
welcome our
breaking too.
first.
Anuma, your voice is breaking too.
Just a second.
Yeah, as Sudipta
How is
said,
it
that
better?
my voice and Sudipta's voice, everybody can hear. Oh my God, so there's no question of voices speaking.
Now is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So without getting into more delay and thing, let's get and our first speaker, Dr. Shubhana Sen. Dr. Sen has completed her PhD in applied psychology from University of Calcutta. She has 30 years of teaching and administrative experience and is presently working as a guest faculty in various institutions of Kolkata, like Institute of Foreign Trade, United World, and many other eminent. Dr. Sen has participated in various seminars and workshops as a speaker across the country, including institutions like Enhance, etc. She conducts training programs for various institution corporates across the country. She lends her service as a consulting psychologist and is a secretary of the Eastern Zonal Psychological Association. So we welcome you, ma'am, to enlighten us with your words. Over to you, Shubharadi.
Okay. Thank
Can we just wait for a few seconds that Shubhanati could join us back? Else we can go to our next speaker.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Shubhanati, you are much clearer.
Yeah, because now the thing that has happened is my laptop connection went over. So I'm doing it through my mobile itself. Oh, sorry for that. Laptop went off. I'm very sorry. Okay. The topic that we are supposed to discuss today is exploring the child's mind. Now, child's mind is basically a very wide area and a very big issue to discuss. So it actually, if you ask me, or practically any of us, all the speakers out here, they'll definitely agree. Orna has been working with children. I mean, I don't know since when, time immemorial probably. Sudipta is an eminent actress and she does all sorts of roles where she has to deal with children as well. Madam, who's a teacher, I'm sure she deals with children as well. Now, understanding the child's mind is a very, very difficult task. We might say, or we might feel
oh, it's a child. So, I mean, what's a big deal about it? There's a major, major big deal about it. Because the first thing, what we need to do when we try to understand the child's mind is to understand the child. The first big mistake that we as adults do is instead of trying to understand the child's mind, we try to make them understand what we want them to understand. That is the first and the biggest mistake that we do. And that is something we have to be conscious and aware that we cannot afford to do that. We have to understand them first. Why? Because we are adults, we are expected to accept things better, or we are said to be in a better position to accept things than children, because children are more driven by impulse, children are more driven by it, and adults are supposed to be more driven by the ego. So we are expected to understand things better and more than them, and hence we are supposed to understand them as well. That is where we generally primarily go wrong, because instead of understanding, instead of even trying to understand them, what we try to do is we try to make them understand. So that is the first basic problem that we do. Of course, parents want the good of the children, sure, but parents want their good in their own sweet ways. Now, their own sweet ways might not be as good to the children as it appears to be to the parents. So adults feel that whatever they say is good for them. What they forget is the same thing had once happened with them when their parents told them something which they also did not like. We need to remember those things, those days, so that we get to understand the children of this generation. I mean, today's children, the children we have to deal with much better. Things are different. Things what were before, things are different. I'll come to that a little later. But we'll have to understand that children have to be made to understand, and that too by or with logic. We generally have this tendency, we elders generally have this tendency of telling the children, you have to listen to it. And when asked why, the very typical, general, and usual parent-like response is that because I'm saying. No, please, that cannot be a response, because the fact that because I'm saying is illogical. When we are dealing with children, what we need to do is we need to make them understand things their way, but yes, logically. When we think that children don't understand logic, we are absolutely wrong. Children understand logic, but children understand logic their own way. So we have to go down to that way, to that age, to that child type mentality, and make them understand things the way they understand. Parents know more. Of course, parents know more than the children. Parents know more than the children. Teachers know more than the children. That's more because of their age and experience. Now, if we make a mess of that experience, then actually that learning or that experience has been of no use. We need to make use of that experience properly so that we can make the children understand what we understood during our times. And for that, we also have to keep it in mind the way we were made to understand. Now, when I say that we have to remember the way we were made to make things understand, we were made to understand things, sorry, we have to keep in mind that we and the children's generation are the products of different generations. That is something which we have to understand. That is something which we have to accept. And I'm using the word product, please. I'm not considering human beings as commodity. Of course, not, no way. I believe that. But we belong to two different generations, right? Does that mean that we don't understand each other's language? No, it does not mean that. We belong to two different generations means the times are different. The times are different means the exposures are different, the family structures are different. So depending on those, our personality makeup, our growth, our growing up, those have been different. Exposure is far more for this generation, especially in terms of pieces of information. In terms of family, the family types have changed. Previously, even if not joint family, we grew up with our brothers and sisters as brothers and sisters, not as cousins. The concept of first cousins, second cousins, actually, I came to terms with this concept more during my daughter's generation, not during my generation, basically, because we grew up as brothers and sisters. Today, not only small families, we don't even grow up together in most of the cases. There are exceptions. I know there are exceptions because I know one of our speakers, she lives with, I mean, both the sides of her families, and all of them live together. I know that. And I give her examples when we talk about this family structure as well. But generally, that's not the scenario. Generally, the scenario is it's a very, very small family, very, very small unit. And because of that very, very small unit, our sharings become small, our exposures become small in terms of sharing. And hence, the competitive structure grows far more than the collaborative structure. We grow up our children to be far more competitive than collaborative, which I strongly feel is very, very wrong. Another major thing in our generation, which is in this generation, that is questioning. I appreciate that because question is something, to me, it's positive. The problem in our generation was that questioning was synonymous to arguing, which is not. Questioning is not synonymous to arguing, but in our generation, that is how it was looked at. It was looked at to be synonymous to arguing. Hence, it was looked down upon. It was looked as something negative. Today's children, they question and they need their answers. They demand their answers, and quite rightly so. We have to understand that. The problem again with us, parents, teachers, whoever, elders, is that the moment we don't have the answer to their questions, we immediately try to stop them, snub them off. That is absolutely wrong. There's nothing wrong in accepting what we don't know. And there's nothing wrong in trying to learn that and then get back to them. Trust me, if we do this, they don't disrespect us, they respect us even more. Another major point, which is very important, which I feel, is there should be no comparisons, neither in terms of comparisons with their peer groups, nor in terms of comparison with us, as in what we had to go through and what they're going through. When we say we could never think of arguing with our parents, arguing with our elders, we also forget that we were not allowed to question. Ask me, if we ask ourselves properly, we did not like it. Those who are not allowed to question, we did not like it. If you tell me, ma'am, I was very happy with it, I don't think I'm going to believe you completely, because we never liked the fact that we were not allowed to question. Today's generation questions, and that is right. That is perfectly okay. On the other hand, when we say that we did not argue so much, or we were not so irritated, we were not so restless, we also have to understand that we had a lot more time to relax and have fun, which they incidentally don't. Today with us, we have one of the co-founders and directors of Bondhu, Orna, who deal with children so that they grow up this way. She'll come to that when she comes to that. I'm talking about the fact that, see, when we used to come back home from school, we used to leave our bags and run out to play. Today's children, when they come back from their school, they leave their bags, they take another bag and run off for tuitions. They are far, far more stressed. We were not even 1/4 stressed as much as the children of today are. We could relax, we could play. Today they play, but they play virtually, which does not allow them to vent their emotions, their aggressions, their pent up emotions to be vented out, which is very, very important, which is very much needed in case of a child. We had less targets and less competitions, more of happiness, more of relaxation, more of fun. Actually, we grew up much naturally. Today's children, we are responsible for that. We don't allow them to grow up as naturally as they need to. Even when they are, even then we play. Some of the parents will tell me, ma'am, I've given my child, I've admitted him in a cricket coaching camp, in a football coaching camp. Yeah, those all are coaching camps, institutionalized, nothing free floating, which means even when they're allowed to play, when they're allowed to draw, sing, anything, everything comes under vigilance. Everything comes under some form of a discipline. And children are by nature aversive to discipline. children are aversive to discipline, we have to understand that. That doesn't mean that I'm saying that children should not be disciplined anyway. Of course, they should be disciplined, but we have to think of ways how we could discipline them. And when we think of ways, we have to also ensure that we ourselves are disciplined in that particular way. Because however vehemently we might ask children to do whatever, they will do whatever they see us doing. They will not listen to what we say. They will rather try and imitate and observe what we do. Children are suffering today also. That is something we have to keep in mind. Pollution in the environment. We never had so much of pollution in the environment. The more we progress, the more modernized we become, automatically, the more complicated, the more complex our lives become. So today's children are born and they grow up with these complexities and complications. That is negative. That is a problem for them. There is parental pressure, whether it's direct, whether it's indirect. Like indirect pressures, like what? We don't ask our child to do very good. We don't want him or her to stand first. We want him or her to get a first division only. Now, to get admission in a good college or in a good school, that is very much needed. Trust me, marks actually don't matter. In the long run, marks really don't matter. We fall trapped in this rat race to some extent by choice. We can deny it, we can defy it, and some of us have done it. It depends on what we are expecting from our children, whether we want to live happily, whether we want them to grow up naturally, or whether we want them to be quote unquote successful in life, is what makes the difference. Too much of unnecessary positivity is also something which is causing a little unconscious damage to today's children. How can positivity cause damage? Yes, it can. We are in our pursuit of making children feel motivated, in our pursuit of taking away negativities from our children. What we generally do in this generation today is we motivate them a lot. You will be able to do it. Trust me, try out, try nicely, try as much as you can, try and give your best effort. You will be able to do it. You will be able to do it. Very positive, very nice, and very positive. But trust me, this entire conversation should have ended with another sentence added to it. Even if you don't, it does not matter. That is something we don't teach our children. We don't tell them that even if you are not successful, even if you can't succeed, please don't feel depressed about it, because that is not the end of life. That is something which we have to make them understand. And because we cannot make them understand that, what happens is today's children, they are not being able to accept failure. Accepting failure is very, very, very important, because failure is something which most of us will have to face sometime or the other. And I personally feel that we need to fail. We need to face failure sometime or the other. That makes us a stronger person. It's important. But we need to teach them to accept that failure. Giving them, endowing all sorts of positivity in them continuously and not making them aware of how they can deal with failure is also not the right thing to do. Class 5 to 10, middle and high school, beginning of adolescence, defiance is a natural thing. They do it somewhat consciously, somewhat unconsciously as well. That's a natural thing for this age. Questioning is a natural thing, and please appreciate the questions. Appreciate their questions, answer as much as you can. If you cannot, take time from them. Trust me, children will not disrespect you. They will respect your honesty if you take time from them, and then get back to them after you yourself updating your own self on that. Be friends enough with the children in whatever capacity you can, but be friends enough to intervene, not to interfere. Be there in their Facebook. You don't need to comment on everything. When you find them using some colloquial slangs in Facebook with their friends, please don't intervene and interfere and write, why are you using such words on social media? No, ignore that. Certain things need to be ignored, but yes, when you think something serious happening, you have to intervene. So you have to keep a watch on what's happening with these children, but not continuously breathe on their shoulders and interfere in whatever they're doing. Don't be too harsh with them, because as it is, they are facing a very rough and tough world. they're facing a very harsh world, because the biggest problem I feel today is with people, with the children who are very soft. We tell everybody, especially with women, with girls, we tell everybody the girl should learn everything. Girls should learn karate and things and everything, because all girls should be strong. I feel very pity for on that ground. I feel very pity for girls. Girls are human beings, as a matter of fact. I mean, irrespective of gender, all genders, across all genders. I feel bad for human beings who want to say stay soft. Why can't they? I mean, afford to say stay soft? Just because some other people are wrong in being harsh, some other people might, I mean, affect them negatively. That's the reason we want everybody to grow up to be very strong and very hardy. It's not like that. The world is made up of all sort of people, all sort of children, and it will be the same for everybody. And that's the reason why, when it specifically when it comes to girls, when people say that girls should learn karate, girls should learn self-defense, I strongly feel that girls should not learn anything. Girls have learned a lot in their lives. Boys should learn to behave themselves. That is basically what is needed. Children are kept too much under vigilance. Try and remove a little bit of vigilance from them. Allow them to make mistakes. Trust me, we all made mistakes. We learn from those mistakes. They will also learn from their mistakes. And nothing or no one is a better teacher than life itself. So life will teach them lessons. They will learn from life. They will learn from their own mistakes. So allow them to make some mistakes. Two last things which I would like to mention. One, we have to remember that our lack of patience, our problems, being otherwise frustrated in life, we being otherwise frustrated in life, it cannot be reasons for us to make our children suffer. Here, when I say our children, I don't mean only our children according to the blood relation. I mean our children as in the next generation. And the last point which I would like to mention is that liven up the child in you. Remember those days when you were a child, when you could do certain things, when you could not do certain things. Allow them to do what you could do, and please also allow them to do what you could not do. Because what you could not do, somewhere deep down, there till date stays some frustration about that in your own life. Please don't make the children of this generation go through frustration. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Dr. Shane. Uh, Now we would like to move on to Dr. Anashi. Dr. Shi is a sociologist, mentor, researcher, teacher educator, child social activist, resident storyteller. With a PhD in sociology from Tulane University, USA, she has 25 years of combined professional experience. Her areas of work include education, culture, and the arts, communication, and child adolescent activation and advocacy, public health, and gender. She works as well as collaborates extensively with academic and government organizations, INGOs, NGOs, and international funding organizations, both independently and as part of a team of experts. Her experience as teacher educator spans almost 20 years. Welcome, over to you. And I would request all the speakers to kindly uh, limit your speech within 10 minutes due to our time constraint of the seminar. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anoma. I hope I'm audible. I would first like to thank the Eastern Zonal Psychological Association for providing this space for me to share my views and inviting me to this very, very prestigious occasion of the Dr. Arup Ghoshal Memorial Seminar. Um, I think before I would just like to mention that it's when you hear the topic exploring the mind of the child, the term mind you immediately associate with a psychologist or a psychiatrist, and I would first like to say, like Anuma mentioned, that I'm a sociologist, so um, and a practitioner with, and I have worked with children in several across the across the country in varied domains, in urban and rural and social different social classes in varied capacities, both in the formal and non-formal sector. Now, I think the context of the whole discussion has been very beautifully set by Shubarna, and many of the points that she suggested are basically would be overlapping and common for many of us. But I would like to just state that I work in the preventive domain, not in the curative domain when I'm working with children. Um, so I would like to just share my views and my experiences along those lines, and with certain kinds of evidence. Being a sociologist and an app, I work in the field of applied sociology. So I would like to just provide some evidence from my experience and learning. The first thing that I would like to say is that when, like Shubarna has been mentioning Bondhu, which is an organization I set up with my friend Monji about 18 years ago. And what we realized as educators and sociological consultants was that uh, the mainstream was not providing space for children for cultural learning, for social learning, for cultural understanding, and to develop and spaces to develop compassion, and sensitivity that was lacking in the formal space. And that's the reason why we created Bondhu. And the methods that emerged out of Bondhu, I have applied all my life in my professional domain also. So, to make the long story short, I would just like to mention three things that I have learned by working with children. I have learned from interacting with children and trying to, of the age that has been mentioned here, that is 10 plus to 14 plus. And those three things I would just like to mention here. The first thing that I have learned from children is that you don't infantilize them. You treat them as a human, as a human being, on and you talk and you communicate with them on equal footing. Now, what Shubhana was mentioning about disciplining is that it has that top-down approach. When you're saying discipline, you have that top-down approach that you don't do this, you don't do that, and this is right and this is wrong, and those kinds of binaries. We live in a world of binaries and instructions when we work with children, when we are normally dealing with children. But what I have learned is, instead of that, if you communicate with them and just to ask, you to do the reasoning thing with them, that they give you their logic and you give them their logic, I think it works much better, because they realize that you're not treating them as infants. Just at this age anyway, you're not baby talking with them. Even the baby talking of lisping with them at a much younger age is something that is should be avoided. Makes isolates them from there is the social learning gaps appear in that. But what I have realized and what I have seen is that when children are made to work collaboratively, and because in the working space, even in this space where we are, where all kinds of internet things are, issues are taking place, we are doing it collaboratively. With one person is missing, another person comes in, this, that, and the other, and that's how we work in real life. You don't work through competition in real life. And collaborations make you feel happy, because ultimately you want your children to be happy. And that is, I think, a key to making children feel happy, making them work in groups, even in classrooms, even in schools, which doesn't happen much. But that itself, brings out so many dimensions and so many shades of experiences from them, which they nourish and cherish, and they grow up, and they become different kinds of human beings from very early age. And especially this age that we are talking about, they need to be given collaborative work and not competitive work. And the third thing that I would like to mention is the issue of creativity. I'm sorry to say that we have come to a time and space and age where uh, rote learning and your dependence on memory defines your brilliance. But there is no space for creativity in the formal learning space. And the thing is that, I'm not talking just about imagination. You have to make them create things of value, put imagination into practice. That is not happening in the formal space. How do you? Because this thing, about intelligence, right? That intelligence works interactively, because the brain, is not divided into compartments. So you have to give them that space of divergent, learning how to think divergently. It's not just one answer to one question. One question can be interpreted in multiple ways to give different kinds of answers. Children should be made to ask questions instead of just narrating answers. So it's in Bondhu, we create spaces like that. And what we have seen, because is that the children not just enjoy, but they are able to develop faster, and uh, become much more enriched human beings once, and happy, once they are given that creative space. You can make a simple dal one day, or muri with something, and ask them to give it a name. Even that is a practice of creativity. So that those kinds of things need to happen. And I would say that uh, even at these times where we are living through online, children are developing square eyes, we are developing square eyes, and there is that fatigue and whatever. But even when we are using the virtual space for creative practices, it becomes a much happier space. So I think I would like to conclude here with these thoughts, given the constraint of time, and would like to pass on to the next speaker, Onoma. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your enlightening talk. Now we move on to our teacher, Miss Moshumi Dashghosh. Miss Dashghosh has completed her MSc in genetics from Jyoti Vihar, Sambalpur University, Orissa, and completed B.Ed in zoology. She has teaching experience of 8 years in St. Joseph Convent School, Rourkela, and of 16 years in St. John's School, National English School. Ms. Dashghosh is presently working in St. Jude's High School, Modhumgram. She has experience of teaching secondary and senior secondary level biology. Also, she has been an examiner for theory and practical biology of ICSE and ISC both. She has passion for teaching, and her bonding with students is extremely good. So, ma'am, we are eager to hear your perspective on the children you handle. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. And first of all, I would thank everybody for giving me this opportunity to speak on the topic which I would always like to speak upon. Now, I've been, as a teacher for 25 and more years, I have been dealing with students from class 6 to 12 constantly, and I have been interacting with various problems they are facing, various behavioral problems, various way they interact with parents, teachers, with their friends. And I would just like to focus especially on this age of 11 to 16, where children show certain changes in their behavior, which I have noticed for all these years. This age for the child is a very delicate and a tender age where they actually step from childhood to adolescence. And as a biology teacher, I understand that the main role played over here is the hormones which are secreted in the body, and that bring about certain mental and emotional changes. Especially, they are driven by certain emotions, which actually we as parents, as teachers should understand, because I've been facing with or dealing with so many problems that are spoken to me by the children, which I would like to share with everybody. Now, I would like to talk about certain aspects, as ma'am, Orna ma'am has said, and even Shuborna ma'am has said, all the points already, which I would like to focus, ma'am has already explained it in much better way than I could have. But then certain things I would like to say is during this period of stepping into adolescence, a child actually builds up a egocentrism, which actually makes the child behave in two particular way, which I would like to mention. One is that uh, they want to get the attraction of everybody else. In this image, I have seen the child learns that I should know about who am I and how I am behaving, and the way I look. Am I looking beautiful or not? Am I looking attractive or not? This is one thing. And another thing, whatever emotions they experience, they feel that this experience which is not, that it is not felt by anybody. It is a unique experience which only this is one side. They feel that nobody else is there who can understand.
I think her
Especially
audio is making some problems.
as because these children come and speak with about their problems to me. Just recently, I can tell you, Miss, I just got an WhatsApp message from a friend of my school that, ma'am, I got, hello, can I could not,
Ma'am, we can hear you,
hello,
but your voice is breaking a bit.
hello, somebody interrupted me. Can I know if I'm going wrong? The Miss, am I, yes, so it is about the problem that that child spoke to me. Okay, then I cannot.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking in
Let me.
between.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's a bit clear.
Yes.
Yeah, carry on.
Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, now
Hello. Am I
yes,
audible?
ma'am.
Am I don't know. Am I audible?
No, Moshumi ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Continuously.
I was just trying to. Yes, I was just trying to share one experience that is recently at Corona pandemic started. Before that, one child sent me a message that, ma'am, I just want to speak to you, and it's very urgent. I cannot share it with anybody. Hello. My problem with the network because network. Can I move out of the meeting and rejoin again? Hello? Hmm?
Yes, ma'am, you can try that.
Actually, there is
Hello.
no.
Am I audible now?
Hmm.
Hello, ma'am. Hello,
Yes, you
ma'am.
are
Am I
audible.
audible now?
Yes, ma'am,
Am
you
I
are
audible?
audible now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The network connection was poor over there. Uh, anyway, um, as I was trying to talk about my experience, that one child called me up and said that, "Ma'am, I want to talk to you," and I did not even know her. Then I asked her. She said, "Ma'am, but I cannot talk to you on the WhatsApp. Neither can I call you up now. Can you call me before 7 o'clock?" Going against my family also, I thought of, yes, let me help this child, and I called her up. And what was her problem, ma'am? The problem was, she said she had a lot of emotional turmoil, and she shared it with me. And when I asked, and you won't believe, ma'am, she talked with me for 1.5 hours. She was crying literally. She was mentally very disturbed. And then when I asked her that, child, why don't you talk to your mother about it? Because mother is the best friend. The instantly she said, my mother, she doesn't understand. When I spoke to her, I tried to speak to her, but she said that এইসব ছাড়ো, এই বয়সে এইসব হয়, so don't bother about it, just neglect it and go on with your studies. You are neglecting your studies, you have to continue with your studies. And if in ICC, she's actually a child of class 10 who passed this year. So mother said that if you don't get marks in ICC, then that will bring shame for a family. And this is what the child conferred to me. Anyway, I talked with the child, and it was a simple problem, which might be trivial for us, but it's a big problem for her. And as I have already told you, because I feel that I should deal with these type of problem, and I have a daughter of her age also. So I tried to talk to her, and within few days she was okay. And I saw her running down the stairs of the school and saying, "Ma'am, thank you." And her friends also came and told me, "Ma'am, thanks a lot. You did a lot for us." So the main thing is, I feel that they are very lonely. This generation children are very lonely. No joint families. We opt for a single sibling so that we can take care of them. We can build the future. But we make a very big mistake. They really miss a brother or a sister. Somebody with whom they can share their feeling. They can have a rapport. They can talk to somebody. They can understand that there is somebody. Means actually, this is what we talk to the children. The children, means teachers come to the staff room and they say, "Oh my God, how this child spoke, how rude they are, how they back answer nowadays." Actually, as much as I have felt, it is they look for they become an individual. They know, they find the individuality in them. So that is the reason they go against whatever is told to them. Means they won't take it without reason. They won't take it, so they go against it. They answer, they question, and that is taken to be rudeness by teachers. See, the teachers come to the staff room and say, "Hey, meta, khub baje, hey, eta hoyeche." Why it is happening? What is the problem? So this is what I would like to say. The biggest problem that I've noticed among children nowadays is loneliness. My even I see this in my daughter. I feel pity for her. That in my days, I remember how we used to come back from school, as Shuvarna ma'am said, that coming back from school, in the bag, washing our faces, we used to run off to play. We used to play for till 6 o'clock, then come back home, then sit to study. But nowadays, children, they are just go to the karate class, go for swimming class, then come and study, then you have tuitions, and so on. So they are overburdened. We don't give them space to think, to enjoy, to interact, and especially we as parents also, we have to come down a level, think about what we were, how we had somebody did not understand our feeling, and means like there are so many things that they want to convey to us, which we feel maybe trivial for us, maybe very minute for us, but maybe a big thing for them. So we have to remove from them that the feeling of nobody understands me, nobody will understand me, nobody understands my feeling, nobody can feel my pain. So we have to come down to their level, think, share, feel, and make a little lesser for them. Though we cannot remove it all because we cannot come down to totally to their level, but we can try always talk out with them, understand their feeling, and explain to them. We cannot force, we should not force, but at least explain to them what is correct and what is wrong. And after that, we can leave it to them that what they will decide upon. Thank you. Thank you. I hope
Moshumi
I
ma'am.
could. Yes, yes. Thank you,
Yeah, ma'am.
Anuma. Yes, I hope that I could convey my feeling and what I feel about the students. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your excellent talk. Okay. So now the last but not the least speaker is Miss Mstrudita Chakrabarti. She is a very well-known Maluti to us, but apart from that, she is an Indian actress who mostly works in Bengali cinema. She has put an imprint on our hearts through many of the unforgettable characters played in cinema. She won the National Film Award for Best Supporting Actress for the film Badiwali, and several other awards are also backed by her. She completed her secondary education from Alipur Multipurpose Government Girls School and later completed her school leaving examination from Kendriya Vidyalaya, Fort William. She graduated with an honors degree in English from Indira Gandhi National Open University. Miss Chakrabarti made her debut in the film Shanghat. Over to you, ma'am.
Wow, thank you. You know so much about me. I almost forgot all those details. I've come a long way. Thank you. First of all, I must thank the Eastern Zonal Psychological Association and Shubarnadi, especially for calling me again this year, because last year also I was there in the panel to discuss maybe some other issue, but on the same occasion. But life was different then. Life is absolutely different now. We had an auditorium, we had viewers, audience, we had tea, coffee, we had a lot of things. But now we've moved to a time when those things really look like আবার কি হবে এরকম কিছু জীবনে we are in a difficult situation, but I have always learned how to make difficulty into um, uh, an easygoing fact in life. Thank you, Shubharnadi and Ornadi and Moshumi Di, I must call that, talking so much in length about all the points that needed to be discussed. So talking at the in the last has some merits. You actually don't have to say much because all have been said, and it has got demerits that you are supposed to talk. Then what are you supposed to talk about? Because every single point has been discussed and referred to. But yes, I feel, see, I'm not neither a psychologist nor that I even eventually work with children every day 24/7. It's nothing like that, but my profession allows me to become different personalities, different times. And I get the opportunity to work with children, and I have always had a fetish for working with children, so I take out opportunities to working with them. And fortunately, for last 4.5 years, I have someone back home who with whom I spend a lot of time, and I am getting to learn so much of things that I never learned, never paid heed to in my life. So my motherhood actually has taught me a lot of things. See, what happens is this particular seminar, had it been organized 3.5 months back, we would have talked in a different line of thoughts. But these last 3.5 months have taught many lessons, to all of us, and we are in a different situation altogether. It's a different world that we all are living in, but we have to deal with it, because life throws you challenges and you got to accept it. You have no other way. So nevertheless, in a normal situation, to my understanding, whatever I have learned from the eminent speakers already, see, my thinking goes like this, that the socio-economic structure that has changed drastically from our times to this time. Like when I was 5 years old, and today's 5 years old kids are living in such a time, these are drastically different times. I mean, when Shubhanadi were 5 or 10 years old, and when I was 5 or 10 years old, maybe the difference was much lesser, her 10 years and my 10 years. But my 10 years and my child's 10 years are going to be drastically different, upside down, because the entire world and the perspective has changed. Our eyes got opened, we got open to the entire world, maybe virtually, and the entire structure has changed. So our ways of looking at life needs to be changed. We have no option left. Secondly, this nuclear family concept, the thing that Shubhanadi was talking about, that we had a family where different components were there. We had a strict jethima, we had a passionate kakima, we used to have a very disciplined mother, we used to have a unmarried kaku who were always ready with lozenge and toffees and all kinds of possible um, anti-logics to make the parents understand that, okay, the child is not at fault. So we had all these components together under the same roof. So you had hideouts, you had different places to hide, you had different objects and different people to get support from. Now that we have come to this nuclear family concept, it is all about our parents, and in some cases a single parent, maybe that is even more dangerous. So we are looking for everything in a mother, in most cases, or in a father, or eventually, if everything goes right, in a pair of parents. So the teacher, the friend, the guide, the philosopher, the strict one, everything combined in a person. That person's life has also changed. We did not have so-called working parents everywhere around us, but today we have working parents. Each and every parent is working to earn money and get a better living. So the vacuum of understanding, vacuum of communication is getting bigger. And like everyone said, the proximity with nature, মাঠে চলে গেলাম খেলতে, কাদায় লুটোপুটি খেলাম, all that has gone obsolete. Absolutely, there is no field, there is no mart available around us. It's only a few blue and white parks, zebra painted parks with horrible looking seesaws and dolna. It's horrible. No child can went out their whatever hidden emotions, going there and playing with children of their same age. It's all gone wrong somewhere. It's all gone wrong. And on top of that, they are much more exposed to the world than we were at our time. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. We are not very sure. The time will say. But the fact is, they are more exposed to the world, maybe virtually, um, which is taking a toll on them, especially in this last 3.5 months' time, before which the teachers of every school used to call parents and used to tell them, don't get the mobile, don't give them the mobile phones, don't make them sit in front of the laptops. But the things have changed so upside down that now laptops and mobile phones are the only way possible to get connected, in terms of studies, in terms of entertainment, in terms of getting connected to their friends and relatives and everybody. So what to do? The thing that was completely barred 3 months back is now the only way of hope, the ray of hope for them. So obviously they will be confused. As a parent, I am confused what to do. So it's not the little children's problem, it's our problem that we are getting confused with the whole system. The system is expecting us to do a lot of things, and the things are changing constantly. So we are getting confused each and every day what to do and what not to do. And then what happens is they are obviously more stressed with burden of learning and burden of proving. That every speaker almost has said that you have to prove that you are a good student, you have to prove you're a good dancer, you have to prove that you're a good swimmer. I mean, one child cannot be good at everything. Let them relax, let them enjoy, let them breathe. We are taking off the oxygen around them, we are pushing them to a corner where there will be no way to combat. They are little children, they need to open up and express themselves the way they want to, not the way we want them to. That the thing that Shubharnadi has first mentioned. These things are, getting confused day every day. And then the medium of learning, the every day the they are passing by. I am a product of a Bangla medium school, but see, I am attending a symposium where I'm talking in English. So maybe in the longer run in life I have learned another language. But today's generation, being a Hindi speaking child, or a Bangla speaking child, or a Kannada speaking child, we are forcing them from the very one day to learn another language which they do not hear at home, which they do not communicate in with their own people. So they are getting confused. Should I call it mango or which is right? Should I call it whatever? I mean, whatever the product or the component is, they are getting confused. They are getting stuck in the language thing. Which is the right language? Is it a chata or is it an umbrella? Which one should I call it? So being a Bengali child, or any language speaking child, they are getting confused and getting stuck and getting pressurized, because we are pressurizing them to learn Bangla, Hindi, English, everything at a time. A tiny space that they have in their brain, we are overburdening them with so much of things. I mean, come on, let them relax, let them sing. I have been talking about the problems. Now I'm coming to the solution part. Let them dance, let them talk, let them do all kind of madness, let them play with water, let them play with their friends, their parents, let them just sit and look around, let them express, the consequence, whatever wrong they do, let them understand the consequences. Don't do this, don't do that, not solve the problem. We have to make them the consequences that if you do this, this is going to be the consequence. And are you okay with it? Are you okay with, facing that consequence? If you are not, then don't do such things. These are the ways maybe we should handle the children with. I am really, really, I get surprised to see today's children. Trust me, it was only yesterday that I came to know one of the children I know very closely. She is around 9 or 10 years old, and I got to know from her mother that she has opened a YouTube channel of her own, and she has a few followers, and she shoots some videos and uploads there, and she made sure her parents are not aware of it. Can you imagine? Could any of us have imagined this at their age, at the age of 10 or 12 or 9? No. But see the kind of exposure they got, and this particular thing that they have got in their hands in last 3.5 months. They are constantly with the phone, they are studying, they are chatting, they are watching. So the parents' phones are with them, and they have gone to the extent of opening their own YouTube channels. A 9-year-old. Ask me, I don't even know how to open a YouTube channel. So you can understand the intelligence level of this generation has. So they are not at fault. All we need to do is to channelize it properly in the right manner. If you are an intelligent person, you can just end up becoming a Bill Gates or what? A notorious terrorist, maybe. Yeah. So we have to channelize their minds. That's what I feel. I'm a very positive person. I have a 4.5-year-old at home. In the entire lockdown, many of you must be knowing that I have been spending a fantastic time with her and her cousin sister. Every evening I had tried making them busy with something concrete, something creative that they look up to, because this is not a time that they're very used to. They're not being able to go out of home. They are not being able to get to meet their friends, their teachers, their school, their swimming, their dance, the places that they express themselves. But I have made my own way of keeping them busy and creative as well. So I leave it up to you, all the parents, that you need to find out which is the best thing in your child, and you have to nurture it the way it should be. I mean, that's all I had to say currently. And yeah, more specially, more effectively, I want to add one point, that all this discussion that we all were having is predominantly about the urban children. We need to take care of the children who are not so-called urban, who are not so fortunate to get into the so-called English medium speaking high-end schools. There are children whose parents are even in worse condition. The entire scenario is even worse. So we need to take care of them as well. That's our responsibility. That should be our responsibility. That's all I can say.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for inspiring us with such a enhancing thought. Now we are at the end of our seminar, and congratulations and lots of thanks to all the star speakers of today's seminar for making this evening more beautiful. I would now like to call upon our treasurer of Eastern Zonal Psychological Association, Ms. Krishna Roy, to put her vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Just a minute. May I just intervene? Excuse me. Can I be heard? Can I be heard?
Yes, Shubharna, you can be.
Just a minute, Anuma. Before Krishna pays the vote of thanks, just if Shikhadi's system is working, please request her to to say a few words about ESPA because our speakers also don't know. I mean, Sudipta has been there with us last time. Maybe Orna is my friend. That's a different issue. But overall, the viewers who are there, they need to know a little about ESPA. 2-3 minutes, please.
Sure. Shikhadi, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, please.
Can you see me?
Yeah, Shikhadi. Yes, you are audible and we can see you.
Thank you, Ornoma. And good evening to all the ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second Arup Ghoshal Memorial Seminar. And it's organized by our Eastern Zonal Psychological Association, in short ESPA, which conveys the meaning that the association is for the psychologists and by the psychologists. This journey starts from 2003. There's a short history behind it that in 2002, RCI organized an orientation program at the Department of Applied Psychology, University of Kolkata, for registered rehabilitation psychologists, where as a part of the course, we found that their Ayurvedic, homeopathy, social science from all other streams, all are getting this registered as rehabilitation psychologist. And we feel why we studied psychology so long years. After that, we went to our teachers of the department as we are as a student. Many sympathizers, but Professor Arup Ghoshal that time inspire us, motivate us, suggest us to develop and build up a new platform for the psychologists from where we can speak ourselves as a psychologist to what we want to say, to do something, especially as a psychologist. And on the basis of that, Eastern Zonal Psychological Association ESPA started its working as a registered government registered association. But at that time, he himself denied to be a member as he was not a practicing one. He said that you all must be practicing in that association. Following that, we are running several years and had many ups and downs. Finally, he became the secretary of the Indian Psychotic Society and started practicing and agreed to be our member of our association and simultaneously selected as the president of this Eastern Zonal Psychological. After that, it runs very smoothly. We had several workshops, seminar, monthly meeting, discussions to enrich ourselves, help the junior who starts psychotherapy and counseling. We had regular newsletter 4 times a year and with different topics, mainly covering our workshops. We also did the social works as we visit Nondigam several times after their problem to handle the PTSD, that is post-traumatic stress disorder people who had faced the severe problems that time, the young, small children who are very much traumatized at that time. So we worked very nicely with his guidance. But everything while going well, sudden dismiss of Arup Ghoshal in the year 2016 became a great fall to our society when I had to take the post of the president on the request, and I agreed also. But following that, we faces some problems. Many left the association with the idea that it will not run. But we are lucky enough with my colleagues, my secretary Shubharna Sen and vice president, assistant secretaries, treasurers who remained with us, and important some few new members, young psychologists. They are very promising. With their enthusiasm, dedication, ideas, help us to run it very smoothly and let us to develop run this seminar last year, and in this pandemic situation, in an online seminar, which we can only conduct it with their support. Mainly, I have to mention Onoma, who gave tremendous effort to make it a true, make the walk seminar comes true. And that's how we are going. We still has the plan to give social service and to conducted workshops to help the new students, new counselors with their case discussions and everything. And in short, I want to end it here. Thank you all for your quiet listening and give us support. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Hand
Shrikadi.
it over to Anuma.
Rather, it's our joint approach. Yeah, rather, it's our joint approach, joint effort. So let's move on to the last part of our seminar. Over to you, Krishnadi. Could you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah, Krishnadi. Over to you.
Good evening, everybody. On the occasion of a 2 days long online seminar hosted by Eastern Zonal Psychological Association, solemnly observed in the memory of Dr. Arup, I am privileged to be connected with it and take a great pleasure in proposing a vote of thanks. The seminar had been arranged on a very typical issue, exploring the mind of the child. On the first day, as we have reached to an end of the proceeding, I would first express my validation for the very selection of this topic. On behalf of association, I, Krishna Roy, extend my heartful thanks to all who had assembled today. At the onset, I express my deepest regards to the memory of Dr. Arup Ghoshal, the founder of the association. I would express my gratitude to Madam Indrani Ghoshal, our chief guest, though she is absent today. I would then cordially thank the eminent speaker, Dr. Anashi, eminent sociologist, Mrs. Mstrudita Chakrabarti, renowned actress, Dr. Swarna Sen, eminent psychologist and secretary SPA, Mrs. Moshumi Dash, teacher. All of them come forward with their valuable ideas and impression. They had been intensively involved in their researches explored on the issue. Finally, I would like to give special thanks to all our technical associates, without whose spontaneous and committed cooperation we cannot fulfill our seminar online. And I also thank to Shikha, our president, and Onoma Modak. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishnadi.
Yeah, now that we have, we are on the verge of closing up, wrapping up. Why I just pitched in is a different issue, because what I generally see in Google Meet is Onoma kicks everybody out of the thing. I mean, that's the writing that appears. Onoma kicked out this person. Onoma kicked out this person. So I am always very scared of getting kicked out by her. That's why I just wanted all of you to understand that now that's what she's going to do. And thank you very, very, very much for being there.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, Shudipta, you were saying something.
Yeah, I said I would like to thank all of you, and may I just lead? I have some issues. Somebody is very upset.
I can see. I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, so friends,
Orna, thank you so
over
much, because I actually heard what I wanted to hear from you. I needed that input from you, so I'm very, very happy. And I'm sure all the YouTube people, all the people who have, I mean, listened to this, they should be learning something from that as well. Yes,
We all learn from each
thank
other.
you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
had
thanks
something
to
to talk to.
yeah, no,
Hello. I had something to talk to Orna Madam. Can I please?
Sure.
Orna Madam, you were talking about creative part of creative learning or creative part of a child. What if the parents are for the child's creative learning part and the teachers of the school don't allow?
See, I would see, this is the crisis that we are facing all the time. Either the parents are not allowing or the teachers are not allowing, right? So we are always in the throes of
Mani,
a dilemma.
can I set a small example, please?
Hmm.
I know about a child
Anita,
who.
Anita,
Huh,
Anita, very fast, because post the vote of thanks, we cannot carry on for so long.
I mean, very, very small, very small.
Yeah, please.
I know about a child who used to write his own answers, like from his mind. And teachers called his parents to tell that he is a marvelous pressy writer, but it's not allowed in class 4 and 5. So what to do?
No, what to do is basically you communicate. You see, the reality of the situation is that we are faced with systems like that and schools like that and teachers like that, right? So the thing is that is what I was talking about in terms of communicating with the child about the realities of life and giving the child space to do creative work, and just mention and say that is in terms of school, in this little space you need to do whatever you need to do, but you
Okay.
have the alternative spaces and give the child option that you, like I said, that we don't go to binaries. We have to give them that interact, that okay, this can also
Okay.
happen, but for this you do this, do whatever. So I think
Okay.
that is basically
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you. Thank you, ma'am.
Anuma, finally wrap up officially.
Yes, Shubharnati. So, lots of thanks to all our YouTube watchers and to our speakers as well as the organizing committee members. I would like to let know one information that if you have any question or any kind of feedback, you can mail us at ezpa2003@gmail.com, and in the YouTube description, the video that you are watching, and in that description box you can find our Facebook page, our Facebook group, our website, as well as our YouTube channel link. Do subscribe, do like our videos, and do join us for our next program. Thank you. Have a good evening. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.